The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Main Street Code for your financial success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at 631-647-4694. You can always check me out on the web at themainstreetcode.com. Again, this is Neil Himmelstein, and welcome to our show and another hot Friday afternoon. Very hot, warm weekend, and I hope everyone is doing well and staying cool and staying away from the sharks. Today, Main Street Planning Group and the Main Street Code for Financial Success, we always talk about our code. Our code is choice, organization, direction, and education. And it is our goal to help you organize your finances and ensure your finances in the best way for your retirement or pre-retirement or post-retirement. That's what we do. We work with hundreds of advisors across the United States, both accountants, CPAs, attorneys, and other financial advisors come to us and place their insurance business through us because we are experts in these areas of insurance, long-term care, disability, life insurance, and annuities. Today, I want to talk and spend a little bit of time talking about pensions. If you're fortunate enough to have a pension from a company and you're about ready to retire, you're thinking about ready to retire, or you're looking to do early retirement, they will give you a statement, a pension statement, okay? That'll give you all kinds of choices, whether you want income to pay for just you or you and your spouse. The automatic choice, if you don't pick anything, will be what they call a joint and survivor payout, which will give you an income level, hopefully for the rest of you live. And how's that calculated? And let's talk about that. There are other options on there too. You could just take the income yourself, which will probably be a higher income that just pay for your lifetime. At the end of that income, whether you choose that or the joint stream or a portion of the joint stream, there is no benefit. The money is gone. That's what the pension is. All that pension is an annuity, and your pension converts into what they call an immediate annuity payout stream, which is a great thing. If you're fortunate to have one, though, there are choices to make. And when you get that statement, or if you're considering retirement, it's a perfect time to pick up the phone and call us at 631-647-4694, because we're experts in this area in evaluating your pension. Now, it used to be, I'd say the last 10 or 15 years, that we'd help you pick your best income benefit. And we still do. However, because interest rates are up, like they unprecedented, what we found in the last week or two is that the annuities we offer with the dollar amount are oftentimes better now than when you get your offer. And why is that? Your pensions are set up when your company sets those things up, and it's a predetermined rate based upon age and dollar amount on how much money you're going to get. Now, they used a interest rate with lots of these at a much higher rate than we had in the last couple of years. Now, all of a sudden, because interest rates are way higher, the payouts have become much higher on new annuities, even higher than your pension. So you want us to look at that. Also, when you're making this choice, some of the things that we talk about, and this is like, once you make your choice, that's it. It's done. You can't go backwards. So it's a very important choice, and you want to reach out to us before you make your decision so that you have an informed decision. Because like I said, it's okay, you got a pension. Okay, you decide you're going to retire, and boom, that's your choice. I had a client up in Connecticut 20 years ago. He worked with Pratt Whitney, chief engineer, had done very well, had a huge pension, everything else. And I met his wife, who was on the Chamber of Commerce board with myself, and up in Connecticut. And she said, "Oh, my husband's thinking of retiring." I go, "When?" Friday. That's plenty of time. He had already made his selection and already made his choice. We had lots of other planning to do, but he made his choice, and that was it. That was done. And that's not the way to do things. You want to make a informed decision and do it the right way. So not only do they give you a choice of whether it's just for your life, if you're lucky enough to have one of these pensions. And by the way, if you don't have a pension and you'd like to create one for yourself, we are experts in creating them. But this decision time is a vital time to reach out to us, because this is a big planning moment for the rest of your life. This is the key thing that's going to determine how much money you have, how much money you're going to have in retirement, how much income flow you're going to have. So it's very important that we get this stuff organized. Now, the automatic choice in a pension, if you don't choose one, will be joint and survivor. Now, that will be less than if they just pay you directly, just for your lifetime. And why is that? Well, because they're going to pay out for 2 lifetimes. But let me tell you where that is not always the best choice. It could be the best choice depending on circumstances. If your spouse is not well, or doesn't have a long life expectancy, or has some pre-existing conditions, and you think may pass away in the next few years, you're giving up all that income for the rest of your life. So that may or may not work. If you're ill, maybe it's a great choice, and your spouse is healthy and you want your spouse to get the majority of the income, then you might make a different choice. If you're both healthy and you're both around the same age, and by the way, this payout is based upon not only the dollar amount, it's based upon your age. It's what they call an actuarial number to how much they know they're going to pay out, based upon averages upon your age, not upon your health, but upon your age and dollar amount. So if your spouse is significantly older, then you don't want to take a joint and spouse, because they're much older and they might pass away much sooner, and you'd give away a lot of money. If they're much younger, there may be another reason you may or may not want to do this. You may want to do the joint and survivor. But what you're doing when you make that choice of what they call joint and survivor, or that joint income, is you're really buying life insurance without purchasing it, but you're purchasing it at a very expensive rate and the time frame, if you're both healthy, the odds are you will live within 5 years of one another. So why am I foregoing thousands and thousands of dollars a year, maybe $1,000 a month for the rest of your life? Why would you forego that money to buy a life policy where maybe you could buy a different type of policy and take care of it? So that's very important. When you have a pension and it's decision time, call us. Now, there's lots of other decisions to make, because all of a sudden you're retired and you're going to rely on this income stream and everything else. What are you doing to take care of the what ifs at that time? Do you have long-term care insurance? Do you have life insurance? Now's the time to sew it up and make sure that you're ready to take that jump, because all of a sudden you're not going to have the regular income flow except for that pension and maybe Social Security. And is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough if we keep having 8%, 9% inflation rate? It will never be enough. So, and what happens if you get sick? Or what happens if you get ill? All these what ifs get discussed when we talk about a retirement meeting, because we want to make sure that you're prepared for the what ifs. The what ifs will happen. Things do happen, unfortunately. So we want to make sure that you're prepared, and it's quite the time, well before you retire, to sit down with us and review your documentation and make sure everything's going to be there for you. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. If you ever would like to speak to me, 631-647-4694, and I am available for any questions or any thoughts, and we're going to be back right after a commercial break. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. This is your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 to talk about your financial success and talk about insurance issues. And one of the things that we talk about very often is let us help you be your quarterback to coordinate your attorneys, your accountants, your financial advisors with the insurance needs, and make sure everything is working in sync on your behalf. You should have your own financial team. And if you don't have one, call us. You know, recently, before the break, we were talking about pensions. And if you're fortunate enough that have a company or work for the government and you have a pension, they're going to make all these pension offerings. And very critical time in decision making is to determine what type of pension and when you're going to take the pension. And they're going to give you different options and those options are annuity options. And whether you take it joint and spouse or take it yourself, these are very important decisions, and they're lifelong decisions. Once they're made, they're made. So, you know, all these decisions come up very quickly. Not only that, if you're at 65, Medicare's a decision. I know Medicare Mike does a terrific job talking about some of the Medicare options. Your income is very important as determining how much your Medicare supplements will cost or not cost. There's a whole lot of things about your Social Security, and everything plays in. But if you have that pension, you give us a call. Some things happen. I have a very loyal listener who we did some work with, and we coordinated. She came to us. Not only did we organize her finances, we got her an attorney, and she's right now, it looks like she's going into hospice and going to have an issue. But thank goodness that she sat down with us about 6 months ago, and we went through her investments, her legal stuff, power of attorney, all these different things to get her in the right direction. And now that she is unable to do anything, at least she is prepared and her estate is prepared, and her next of kin has been calling me and organizing things behind the scenes. But that's the importance of getting yourself prepared and ready. We don't know when things, and I hope she gets better and things go well, but this is the importance of planning and doing things right, looking at your insurance, looking at your investments, making sure things are in order, making sure that your beneficiaries are the correct beneficiaries. That was some of the things that we went over. A lot of times you'll take out a life insurance policy maybe in your 20s or 30s or, when you're younger and you're planning correctly, and things change. You get divorced, you get remarried, you have a child, you have a second child, you have a second wife, a second thing, you buy a house, you buy this. Well, life insurance and annuities, by the way, life insurance and annuities do not go by will. They don't go by will, they go by contract. So not only is it important to know who owns the contract, who the beneficiaries are, and if you don't correct the beneficiaries, then you're going to have a big issue down the road. Well, unless you don't care, that somebody could inherit your money or your finances that's not part of your family or not who you want to. And so these things have to be looked at all the time. Beneficiaries have to be updated. It's so important. You may have another child, and I could tell you a situation where an attorney called me recently, and this woman called him and said, I don't know what to do. He said, what do you mean? Because, well, I just was informed by the children of a man I went out with in my 20s, she's now 65 years old, that I'm the beneficiary of a $500,000 life insurance policy, and they're calling me up asking me for money. What do I do? Well, by contract, he never changed the beneficiaries. Now, technically, she doesn't have to give them anything, period. And that's the law. She's the beneficiary. Now, I'm sure she wasn't the intended beneficiary, and she had a very nice day, I guess, but she wanted to know what to do. And I'm sure the gentleman's wife and children were very upset and wanted to take her to court and everything, but there's nothing he could do. I had a situation very similar to that where a gentleman divorced his wife and was living with another woman who, I don't know if they got married or not, but he passed away like 6 months after leaving his wife and going with this other woman. His ex-wife gets the policy because he never changed the beneficiary. That's the beneficiary he had on the paperwork for 20, 30 years. He never changed it. His girlfriend called me and I said, nothing I can do. This is who the beneficiary was. This was the legal beneficiary. That's who gets paid on a life insurance policy. So that's a very important thing to look at in any insurance policy, is who the beneficiary is. The other thing you want to look at is ownership. And what many people don't realize is they may be great planners and own lots of life insurance, and they all of a sudden have an estate tax. And they've been told throughout their life, life insurance benefits tax-free. It is income tax-free, not estate tax-free. That's a whole nother tax. If your estate's over certain levels, that becomes part of your estate. So if you're one of those people, now the estate tax levels change all the time. Right now they're very high level. Okay, $10 million a person. However, with the government having such stress on it, we anticipate, well, the tax law is going to change in 2025 automatically, where it's going to go down to $6 million. But if you have a lot of life insurance, plus you have a house and everything else, it all gets thrown into a pot, and the IRS says you have this amount of money, it could be taxable in your state. If that beneficiary or you own it, that becomes taxable. Now, if it's in a trust, a life insurance trust, that's out of your estate. That goes estate and income tax free. So this is part of the planning and part of the sophisticated things we do that we look at. Recently, we were also involved in a buy-sell with 3 partners. And a very large company reached out to us. I think they're worth over $300 million. And they want to make sure that the other partners have money to buy out the other shares of the owners. So the one owner owns 80% or $240 million of a company, but he wanted to make sure his wife had that liquid. So she didn't want to run the business or anything, but they create what they call a buy-sell agreement or a shareholder agreement that says, okay, we want to buy the wife out so we can continue to run the company, so the other people or the corporation has to buy a $240 million policy on this gentleman. Well, the company's doing very well. The other 2 partners needed $25 million each. So how do we do this? How do we structure this? That's where we're experts. We are experts in underwriting, not only for the, your health and everything else, but also on your finances. So all these things come into play when you're designing a life insurance program. Now, we're running short on time, but I did want to tell you, yes, the inflation is very high. We now have fixed annuity rates paying upwards of 4%. Tax-deferred, compounded interest, no taxation until you take the money out. Unlike any CD or any bank can offer you, we can offer you close to 4 or over 4%. That's quite a milestone, quite a threshold that we just reached. Tax deferred, huge. And we can offer it at Main Street Planning Group. And you can call me at 631-647-4694. You need to maximize your money to keep up with inflation. Even if you're retired, you need to maximize your money. 631-647-4694, themainstreetcode.com. Give me a call. Let me know what you're thinking. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks again.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.